Well, I've just arrived at Tankwa National Park. Awful 80 kilometers of corrugation to get here, and I've just checked in. Sand parks. Why, when we arrive at a national park, do we have to fill in a form which is on your computer, which we provided when we made a booking, but when we arrive at the national park we must provide this detail again? Why is that necessary? Sand parks, trust me, nobody's ID number changes between the time they make the booking and they arrive at the national park. I've seen this in every national park in South Africa. Forms must be filled in. Everything which is on computer already, with the one exception, there's a COVID-19 form. I understand that. I don't think it serves any purpose whatever, but it does legally indemnify the national parks. That one I can understand, as silly as it is. But why else you have to provide... There we go, took the right turn. Why do we have to provide all of that detail again? I've been to one hotel in this country where there were similar forms to fill in. And I've made a note in my mind never to use that hotel again. I had an argument with the manager and said to him, why do I have to provide you with all of this detail, some of which was personal detail? When I've made a booking, you've accepted my money, you've accepted my booking, but now you tell me I must provide you all sorts of private detail. For example, email address, cell phone number. Why do you require that? Anyway, they will never be used by me again. Otherwise their service was reasonable. But sand parks, come on. You've got possibly one of the best automated booking systems in the world. Certainly the best I've ever used. It's magnificent. Why do we go back to archaic, hand-filled forms upon arrival at a park? If you insist upon doing it, and there's some bureaucrat somewhere that wants it, why not, which many hotels do, they give you a printout of your detail and ask you to confirm and sign in. Perfectly acceptable. Absolutely acceptable. But why provide again in your own flowery handwriting details that Sand Parks already has, which you provided when you made your booking? Right, rant over. Sand Parks, you do so many other things well. Why don't you get this one right? Right, rant over again. And I think I'm going to relax and enjoy Tankwa. A pleasant night last night in Tankwa. I camped at a campsite called 4x4 Langkloof. There are only 2 sites, and the other site was occupied too. Each site has its own bathroom, shower, toilet, and kitchen, for lack of a better term. There are no facilities, no cooking facilities, but it does give you a place to pack things out and to do your cooking. Unfortunately, the gas geyser was particularly temperamental, to say the least. It worked and then it didn't work, and then it worked and then it didn't work. Gas geysers are such temperamental things. But nevertheless, a pleasant sight. A pleasant evening. But I'm booked here for 2 days, but have decided to leave. And the reason for that is, looking at the map last night, I'm on my way. My next stop is De Hel. And looking at the map last night, given my experience driving in to Tankwa, it's going to be a long journey, because the roads are fairly slow, not necessarily within Tankwa, but approaching Tankwa. It's all gravel. And the road I was on yesterday was horribly corrugated and therefore pretty slow going. So I don't want to get to the De Hel late and then to have the major attraction of this trip being driven with a degree of stress. So I'd rather leave today and then find somewhere to spend the night tonight, fairly close to De Hel, and then I've got a full day in which to do that pass, or series of passes. Interestingly enough, my neighbor last night has been to De Hel recently, and he was telling me that if you've driven Sani Pass, he said to me, then you shouldn't find any problems with De Hel. So I'm quite relieved to hear that. I've done many passes in Lesotho, some of them quite hairy, but I don't particularly like doing hairy passes. I don't particularly like doing anything that makes me scared. So we'll see. Tankwa, it's a relatively new park. It's growing all the time as Sandparks is buying up land. It's now considerably bigger than it was when it was first started. Not very much game. I've seen Gemsbok, oryx, and I've seen Karoo. But then again, I don't particularly come to places like this to see wildlife. There are many other places where you can see wildlife in profusion. The part that I'm in at the moment is very attractive. But I must also say there are areas that are completely barren. This is the driest part of the Karoo. Very little rainfall here during the year. And there are areas that are really completely barren. There could no animals, certainly no antelope, could survive there because there's nothing to eat. I'm leaving this morning through the northwest to Middelpos. I'm told there's fuel at Middelpos. It's a small little town as I can determine. So fuel at Middelpos and then on to who knows where. Maybe Prince Albert, somewhere in that region. Well, not a good morning so far. Shortly after handing back my keys for the camping area last night, I hit a rock with my left front wheel. Literally tore the steering out of my hand. Then about 20 minutes later, I felt that the alignment seemed to be out. It was pulling to the left, so I stopped, and there was a flattish left front tire with a huge hole in the sidewall. So, spent almost 2 hours now replacing that wheel with a spare wheel, only to find that the nuts holding my spare wheel were of a different size to the nuts on the normal wheel. So that was somewhat of a struggle, and then found that my high lift jack, which I've been meaning to service for ages, is badly rusted up. So a lot of W40 later, and struggling, got the car lifted up and the wheel replaced. It's good that these things happen every now and then. It forces us to check our tools and our maintenance procedures. So now I'm well behind schedule. It's 12 o'clock and I've got a long distance still to do today.